Welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'll be showing you guys how to make this inner placket. It's such a classy and mature placket for any senator that you want to be making right now. I'm going to show you guys how to do this step by step. So all you have to do in exchange for that is to smash the like button. Click on the like button. In case you're watching this video on your phone right now, under this video you're going to see a subscribe button, that red subscribe button. Just click it. You can see, just click it and turn on the notification bell to get notified when I upload newer video. That's how to subscribe to the channel. It's very simple, right? So the very first thing you're going to do is to cut your bodice. And in case you haven't seen a video of how to cut your bodice, I have a video in the description below, or just check the channel gallery. You're going to see. So I already cut my bodice and I fold them together. So this is the shape in which your bodice is going to be. So give it a good ironing and make sure it is smooth and it is straight. So the very first thing you're going to do is to determine the length of your placket. How long do you want the placket itself to be? So on this one, we'll be working with 16 inches because the person is a very tall person. The person that has the outfit is a tall person. So we're working with 16 inches. So I want you guys to pay good attention to what I'm about to do here. At this end, I'm going to mark my 16 inches. Don't forget, I'm working at the wrong side of the fabric, right? I'm going to mark my 16 inches. You can see that. So we are going to chalk our shape in the front first before we are going to apply our fusing. And on this one, I'll be using a cloth interfacing, just a light one. It's not too hard and it's not too soft. A cloth interfacing, you can see this is what it's going to look like. You can see that. So we are going to cut our front first. So I want you guys to pay attention to this place. This is the most important part. So first, all we're going to do now is to, at the top part, you know, the height is going to be 16 inches, right? So at the top part here, I will be taking out 6 inches. That will be the closure. That will be the neck closure. That will be the placket area. I'll be taking out 6 inches, right? I'm going to mark that. You can see that will be the upper part, which is the closure part. That's where our press button is going to be. The second one is going to be the opening. That will be 4 inches. You can see that. So between the two opening, there will be 2 inches extra gap in between. So here is the 2 inches. I'll mark that. So we have 4 inches opening there. So the last one is going to be 4 inches also. You can see that, right? So I want you guys to pay attention here. So for the opening, the total opening is not going to be up to 1 inches. It's not going to be up to 1 inch, right? It's going to be like 3/4 of an inch. So after, we are going to have a total of 2 inches after the sewing it inside. So I'm going to mark 3/4 of an inch here. You can see that. I'll be marking 3/4 of an inch. Just here, I'll mark it. You can see that. Here also, I'll mark 3/4 of an inch. You can see that. And at the other 4 inches, I'll mark 3/4 of an inch. You can see that. And here, I'll mark 3/4 of an inch. You can see that. So after marking that, I'm going to connect those lines together. I'm just going to connect those lines together. You can see. Make sure the lines are straight. That's very important. You see that? So here, make sure you join those, the first line in which you connect before. Make sure you join them very well so you can have your space to work with. You can see that. So for the curve of the angles on the design, I'm going to be taking 1/4 of an inch from each side. You can see that. So I'm going to take 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 here. You see my mark. Here also, I'll take 1/4 of an inch out. Here also, I'll take 1/4 of an inch out. And here, I'll take 1/4 of an inch out. You can see that. So after taking that out, I'm going to connect it to the hem of the placket. You can see that. So that I'll be having that angular shape on top of the opening. You can see. I'm going to connect this one also. So far, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you smash the like button. Like destroy the like button. All right, so I'll be doing the same thing on this side also. disconnect it. You can see. You can see that. So after connecting it, all you have to do now is to simply cut those angles out. Just the angle, that's what you need to cut out. You don't need to cut the placket area, just the angle. You can see. Make sure your hand is straight while you're cutting this. You can see that. Let's take out that angle. You see. Also the down one, you're going to take that one also out. You can see that. You can see that. That one also out. So far this is what we're going to be having. You can see. So if I open this up now, you're going to see the inside. This is what the middle is going to look like. So you can see we are almost getting there, right? We are our design is looking or like 20% in because this is the major part, like 20% in. So the next thing I'm going to do is to apply the interfacing to that place. I'm just going to cover it up with the interfacing. I'm putting the interfacing at the wrong side. You can see that I have my chalk at that place, right? So I'm going to apply the interfacing and make sure that place is smooth. You can see what I have. So this after applying it. So let me turn it to the front. You can see what the front is going to look like. You see that? You see what we're having in the front. So all you have to do, I will be cutting out the tip part. Just going to cut that part out. And the white and the interfacing that is showing, this white one that you're looking at, I'll turn it like this and simply iron. Just make sure your bodice is centered, right? Make sure it's centered and iron it down. Make sure the shape of the center part is aligned. You can see what I'm trying to do. Iron it and get that center part. You can see that. You can see that. Get the center part. Make sure it is straight. So all you have to do now is to cut out the interfacing on the whole. You're going to cut out the interfacing on the design in which we just slit. Okay, you can slit your neck open at this area. You can see that. Slit your neck open. You see what I did? I simply cut out that hole. And here also simply cut out that hole. Here also I'm going to slit out the opening. You can see that. And here you can see that. Cut it out. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you click on the like button, and if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, a sub will be an amazing thing to do. You get me right? Just subscribe. So we just cut this out and cut this one also out. You see that? So when I turn this to the front now, this is what we are going to be having. Amazing. Amazing. You see, we are like at 30% at the stage right now, like 30%. You see that? So cut out the excess interfacing on the edges. Make sure you are having a smooth interfacing. You can see that. So the next thing we have to do now is to cut out our bias that we were going to use it to pipe it all around. And the piping has to be as tiny as possible. I know you would have seen the finish of this outfit in the introduction, but before we get to that stage, this is how we went through the process. So this is what I'll be using for the interfacing. So I'll be cutting the bias side. It has to be very, very, very tiny, right? So here I'll be cutting 1 inch of the bias area. Like the wideness of the fabric is going to be a total of 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, right? And the height of that has to be like, you're going to just measure the height of that. So in order to measure the height, just from that's 16 inches. So that's 16 inches in 2 places, which will give us a total of 32. So in order to have an excess fabric, I'll be cutting like around 36 or 40 inches. So I'll be cutting 40 inches of bias here so that I won't have a shortage. So now the length I'll be cutting on my bias is going to be 40 inches. 40 inches by 1 inch wideness. So this is what you're going to be having. You see that? So here is 1 inch by 40 inches. So the next thing we're going to do now is to take this to the sewing machine, and we're going to simply stitch this side all the way down. And during the stitching, you guys have to pay attention during the stitching, because the stitch has to be as tiny and as thick as possible. Make sure you're working with the right side, because the right side of the bias has to be facing the right side of the fabric. You can see that. So we're going to stitch it all the way. It has to be as tiny as possible, all the way like this. You can see this, all the way like this. So when you get to the corner edge, you have to take a sharp corner at that place. I'm going to do, I'll take you guys to the sewing machine so you can see the process. You're going to take a sharp corner at that place, stitch it. You can see you're going to stitch it all the way down, and you're going to do the same thing at this corner also. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to take a sharp corner at that place also, all the way down, and you're going to do it all round on the placket. You can see, so we can simply use it to turn our piping, and we're going to have that tiny face that you're going to be seeing. So let's go to the sewing machine. So here, this is how it's going to be. You can see right here, this corner, just place your, it has to be very, very tiny. That's important. You can see that. Align it very well. Make sure it's as aligned as possible. I'm going to start my stitch. You can see that. So just take your time. You can see what I'm doing. You can see that. So take your time. Make sure you are at the edge of that corner area. You can see. So all you have to do is just to take a sharp edge turn. You can see what I'm doing with my hand. Because we cut it in bias, so it can simply relax and follow up with our edges. That's why the fabric is cut in bias. You can see that. So just take your time. Make sure you're stitching exactly the same size you're stitching from the beginning, all through the edges. Make sure that is what you're stitching. See that? Here also, I'll just take a turn. You don't have to draw the bias. You don't have to draw it. Just allow it to just relax and just do what it's doing. See that? You can see what I'm doing. You can see what we're having at the edge. You can see how smooth the stitches are. You can see that. So you're going to do the same thing all around. So this is what our result is going to look like. You can see what our result look like here. You can see my hand. So all you have to do now is very simple. So I want you guys to pay attention at this place. You can see what the stitches look like. You see that? So here, all you have to do is to iron this. Let me just cut out this. Let me cut out this excess fabric here. Let me cut this out. So all we need to do is to fold this edge just like this. But you can see that this one is still wide. You can see that. So in order to get that tiny side, I'm going to iron this place very well. Take my time to iron it. Make sure that place is smooth. And at those edges, all of the edges in which we sharp stitch, you're going to like notch those edges. You can see what I did. you're going to notch those edges. This corner also, you're going to notch the corner from the inside. That part, you're going to notch it. So from the inside, all you have to do is just to notch that place, exactly that corner, notch it. You can see what I'm doing. You can see that. Here also, you're going to notch that place. You're going to notch all of the corner. That's what will make this outfit come out as like the folding. That will make it come out as perfect as possible. You can see that. You can see that. So just notch all of the edges all the way down, all of it. And after that, all you have to do now is to simply trim out this edge. This place, iron it. Let me iron it down very well. And I'm going to iron this place also. You can see that after ironing it, all I have to do now is to trim this edge enough. You trim it closer to the stitch. You can see that. Trim it all the way down. You can see that. You can see what I'm having, how trimmed that place is. You can see how smooth that place is. So now if I turn this, I can have a very, very, very tiny fabric at the edge. You see that? You see what I did? If you're liking this video so far, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that like button. You see that? So just take your time to balance it, and you're going to, this might take you a lot of time during the folding and trying to balance and all those stuff. Just take your time, balance it, and give it a good ironing. You can see what we're having. Make sure that place is as smooth as possible. You're going to do it all round. All round. You can see that. Just give it a good ironing and press it. You can see what we're having. This one is still even okay. So I'm just going to balance that side, and I'm going to do the same thing on all of the sides. So I'm going to show you guys what the result of the folding will be like. So this is exactly what we're trying to get. You can see how tiny that place is. This is what the back is going to look like. So the same sizing we should get here is what you're going to have to get all round. So this is what the result is going to look like. You can see that. You see how smooth the stuff came out. You see how smooth that is. So make sure you smash that like button. It's very important. You see what we have. This is how smooth it's going to come out. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do now, this will, okay, here also at those edges, you have to make some notch there. I forgot to tell you guys, you have to make some notch at those edges so that it's going to be able to relax to the turning very, very well. Do you guys understand that? So the next thing is to put the under lapel, like the under placket, under it. So on this one, we're going to be using the black that you've seen in the video first. So this is what that one is going to look like. So I already cut and stitched this, and I weave the edges. You see what we have? So I fold them together so I'll be able to like weave the edges, and I put an interfacing inside it, just a light interfacing. You can see that. So all I'll be doing now is to simply place it underneath here. See what I'm having? I'll place it underneath here, and I will stitch it. But first, we have to close. The stitching has to be very, very close, and the stitching has to be as hidden as possible. So it has to be stitched inside the ditch. Stitch inside the ditch. So it has to be. So first, this will be the opening. So we are going to start our stitch. So I'm going to mark that place. You see that? I'm going to mark that place. So from here, we are going to stitch that side first. Then we're going to come back to the other side and stitch that one to the under lapel. Make sure you're stitching inside of those stitch all the way around, and we're going to stop at that chalk. So let's go to the sewing machine and do that. So here first, I told you guys, So I'll be stitching this place first. You can see that. Make sure you're stitching inside, just in the middle of that stuff. See that? Take your time. You don't have to rush yourself. Take your time. So we did. See what we did? You see that I stitch inside of that thing. You cannot even see the stitch at all. You see that? All right. So let's continue with the closing. So from this side right here, I'll be starting from the beginning right here. So make sure you stitch from here. So I'm just going to simply place my stitch, machine. You can see. Make sure you're stitching inside of that joining. You can see that. Take your time. You start to stitch just like that. You can see what I'm doing. Make sure you balance the placket. You can see that. You can see that. You can see that. Just keep stitching. Make sure your hand is straight while you're doing this, and make sure you keep balancing the placket, because at some point it will keep like trying to like fold backward. So you have to take your time to balance it. You can see. Make sure it is straight. All of this side is a little bit tricky. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure you smash the like button and make sure you subscribe if you are yet to subscribe. And in case you want to see more of our intensive training, we've did several private classes on our Telegram channel, and also I have some beginners, intermediate, advanced and professional class on my website. You might want to check the link in the description below to join any of such, and there's a link to our Telegram group in the description below where you can join our previous private weekly classes, and all of the previous classes are also free available. However, if you want to join the channel membership, there's a join button below this video. Some of the video on our private Telegram group are also on the membership class on the YouTube channel. It is only strictly for the membership. So you might want to click the link in the description below, or just click on the join button to join the private classes. We have some awesome tutorial that you might be interested, like how to cut and sew a safari suit. The complete cutting and sewing of a suit is in our website. Also how to cut a waistcoat, how to cut a complete cutting and sewing of a trouser, several like that. So just keep sewing this and make sure your hand is as straight as possible. You can see what I'm doing. In this stage, you don't have to rush anything. Just take your time to just get the best result. You can see. You can see that. keep using your hand to balance the placket. You can see that. You can see that. Let's take your time. At this place, you might be facing some. All you have to do is to make sure the closing of that place is as closed as possible. That's very, very important. Make sure that place is as closed as possible. I just want to do this place all the way to the last edge so that you guys can have a good understanding of what we just did and the result we're going to be having. So I'm just going to stitch that place to the top. And I'm doing it as slow as possible so that you guys can see the process, that you don't have to rush yourself, basically. You can see that. So we're going to end it at that chalked area, but before you end it, make sure you close up this edge. You can simply just lock it up at that place. Just lock your stitch. You can see that. So this is what we are going to be having. You see how smooth our stitches are. You see how clean it came out. You can see what we are having. So let me take this to the to the ironing table. I'll give it a good ironing, and you can see our final result. It's very, very smooth. It's very, very nice. So this is our final result. All you have to do is to give it a good ironing from behind and from the front. It's a very, very nice design. And if you try this, you can just simply send us a message on our WhatsApp group and show us your own results and how smooth it came out. So this is at this neck right here. All you have to do now is to simply trim out that neck in order to balance it, and you can simply join your shoulder and pipe your neck around. That is it. Your outfit is ready. At that neck area, that's where you're going to put your press button. That's where you're going to put your press button in order to hold them together. It's going to be as smooth as that. You can see what we have. So this will be our final result. This is the final result. If you like the video so far, make sure you smash that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are yet to subscribe. So that's about it. In case you want to see another video on how to, there's some video on the screen right now, so just watch them.